because this is a major violation that could have caused untold damage to this client's reputation, to their money, and to their business. It's absolutely disgraceful that Google reps are going around doing this. It is awful. As I was browsing through LinkedIn this morning, I saw a post that absolutely shocked me. A well-known PPC expert was saying on his post that Google's reps, their account management reps, went into their account and actually made changes to their campaign without permission. This is absolutely crazy because you are in control of your own business's ad account, or if you're an agency or freelancer, in charge of your client's ad account. Every single decision that is made in that account should be with you or your client, not with Google. Google can advise, they can do the usual thing they always do, make the phone calls, try and get you to do changes that you probably don't want to make, but never should they go into your account and make changes for you and then tell you after the fact. So today we're going to look at this post and see exactly what happened, and we're also going to see what you can do to future-proof your accounts from Google potentially getting their hands on it. But more shockingly, I'm going to reveal to you something that was really important as part of this post, because Google is doing things in a very underhanded way, and I'm going to reveal that to you as well. So let's jump in and actually read this post. It's coming from a well-renowned Google Ads expert named Thomas Eckel, and he has said this. Attention, Google Ads rep made changes without authorization on the account and sent an email listing the changes, not visible on change history. So there's the breakdown. At the very top of the post, you can see Google Ads rep went into the account, made changes, told him about the changes after the fact, and more importantly, there is zero record of these changes in the change history. When I told you at the beginning of this video something shocking was going to be in here, this is it. They went in and made the changes unauthorized, but in addition to that, those changes did not publish into the change history. So when performance changes in the account, you can normally look back and see in your change history what's happened. In this case, you will never ever know what happened if Google didn't send that email, or if you happened to miss the email. Andy Youngs sent me over this email. That's a Google rep, campaign specialist, UK and Ireland market, from a Google third-party subcontractor, because don't forget, these are third-party subcontractors. They're not actually working for Google. Made changes in his account that neither him nor his client authorized. The changes they made, including writing new ad copy, adjusting headline pinning, and changing a bid strategy, don't even show in the account change history because it's an internal change. So this rep has gone into an account, unpinned headlines, changed ads, and also changed bidding strategy. Now, when you look at the kinds of things a person can do in a Google Ads account to massively impact performance, some of these are some of the biggest changes you can make, especially changing bid strategy on behalf of a client. This is a major change. Also, for a Google Ads rep to go in and unpin headlines, that's even worse, because they don't know your business. They don't necessarily know what unique selling points are going to work for your customers. You do as the advertiser, and you do as the business owner. You know what's going to work. So by unpinning it, that is Google reps undermining the business in a massive way. But we're not done yet, because Thomas happened to have worked for Google historically, and he goes on to say, back when I worked at the Google Ads support and optimization team, making unauthorized changes to a client account was a major compliance mistake. He goes on in the post to ask the question whether or not this has happened to other advertisers out there, and if you go down to the comments, you will obviously see it has. Simon Price of GoConvert said it happened to him a few years ago. And Navarre Hopkins of Optimizer says this unfortunately isn't new. It's been going on for years and sometimes is as insidious as being hidden by not being documented in the change history. So even though I'm telling you this is a new update, apparently it's been going on for a long time, but this is the first time I've heard about it, and many of the other commenters on this post, again, this is the first time they've heard about it as well. Let me know in the comments if this is the first time you have heard about this as well. Have you come across this before? I would love to hear your stories and thoughts on this so far. However, a current Google Ads specialist rep in the UK commented on this post as well. He's currently working for Google, and he goes on to say, as a senior G rep, this is definitely a major compliance case that should never occur. However, we also have the boarding department that are allowed to make changes, but it requires the client's approval by signing a document. So even internally within Google, this is supposed to be something that's against compliance, which is of course very, very obvious. It can cause a lot of harm making changes without the pre-authorized consent of an advertiser. What happens if the changes Google makes means that the advertiser is liable for significant losses, or even worse, potentially even bigger losses by becoming uncompliant themselves? What if the advert the Google rep had written was against the compliance of the industry that the advertiser was promoting? That could cause the advertiser significant legal trouble and even more wasted money on legal cases and fines than what could have even been spent from a Google Ads rep making a mistake. The liability on Google's side is massive here. So without further ado, let's read the email that Google sent to this client regarding the changes they made without authorization. Hi Jack, this is blank from Google Ads support team. Your account blank has been assigned to me for support. Today I optimized your search campaign and improved the ad strength for each ad, unpinned the headlines, added more images from your asset library, corrected the business name and added the logo, added 3 new headlines to 2 of your ads. Now the ad strength for each ad is marked as good. This will help boost ad performance, making them stronger, more informative and more competitive. So let's break that down for a second. First of all, I've spoken about ad strength in the past, and I've looked at studies from Optimizer, and they have basically shown that ad strength doesn't really matter. What ultimately matters is the quality of the ad itself, the things you are promoting, and it doesn't necessarily matter regarding the ad strength. If you want to watch that video, I've linked it in the description below, and hopefully there should be a little bubble above my head with a link to that video. We've already touched on the fact they unpinned the headlines, which could be a big no-no in terms of compliance therefore as well, but the other thing they did was also add new content to the ad itself by adding new headlines. How good are these headlines actually going to be? How much time would the rep have put into place, understanding the business, the unique selling points, their position in the market, to be able to generate headlines that are going to deliver for this client? The answer to that question is of course very limited or no time at all. They were basically ticking boxes, which brings me back round to the purpose of Google Ads support and where I think potentially there could be a legal case in some of these places. Now, of course, I'm not a lawyer, but listen to this. When you think about the conventional term support, what you are trying to do is educate people on how to use a product. Here is how to use it, here is what it does, and here are the things you should consider. That is an educational purpose. By the time somebody is going in and making proactive changes, that moves away from education and becomes basically sales, because you're trying to get somebody to do an action, and in fact you haven't even given them the chance to do the action, you've just done it for them without them consenting or without their request. Because the line between sales and support is so blurred, I think Google has got away with things legally for quite some time now, but with things like this is clearly a violation. And when you think of the objective of these Google Ads reps, what is it for? Number one, it's to make sure all advertisers are spending. They're not limiting their spend, because limited statuses and limited spend are things these reps are very focused on to make sure campaigns are fully spending. The other things they're focused on are adaptation and adoption of new features. So using things like auto apply recommendations, maximizing ad strength, so doing things in line with what Google says. Now, the objective of what Google wants is at odds with what the advertiser wants quite often, and that is the line I think Google could be crossing, because they're pushing what they want the advertiser to do. They benefit massively in terms of monetary value, and the advertiser doesn't necessarily benefit. So if they're suggesting changes that objectively make Google more money, is that support or is that sales? And if it is sales, well, that's a whole other issue. Because if you're contacting somebody for selling something, you need permission to do that. There's GDPR in the UK, and a number of American states also have similar privacy legislation. And for people to proactively outreach to you in order to use features or do things to make them more money, and promoting features that make them more money, that is selling. Google is using their support to sell, to increase sales. And as a result of that, the advertiser needs to have a way to opt out of this proactively. Currently, there is no way to proactively opt out of this. If I created a Google Ads account today and I said, I don't want to be contacted by anybody, where do I go? I have to wait for the first initial contact and the persistent door knocking to say, hey, I'm a Google Ads support agent, I can help you X, Y, and Z. No, I don't want it. I don't want any of that. I want to opt out proactively. Google hasn't provided a mechanism to do so. So what happens next? Well, the first thing we need to understand is that Google could do this to anybody. Could be to you, could be to my accounts. Anytime, any place, Google could decide they want to proactively make changes in an account, even if it breaks their internal compliance. I really hope the person who sent this email and said that they made changes to a client account gets reprimanded. I really hope Google sees it as seriously as I see it, because this is a major violation that could have caused untold damage to this client's reputation, to their money, and to their business. It's absolutely disgraceful that Google reps are going around doing this. It is awful. But do I think Google is going to do anything about this? Well, probably not. I'm going to be very honest. I don't think so, because they stand to benefit, and whenever Google can stand to benefit, they'll just keep moving forward. Well, in terms of what we can do, if the changes don't even show up in the change history, it's very difficult to counteract this. In fact, it's almost impossible. The best thing you can do is keep an eye on your accounts as much as possible and understand that this is probably a rare occurrence. It's something that's probably, hopefully, not happening too often, but based on the comments on that post, it is happening, and we have to account for that. So keep an eye on your campaigns, benchmark performance regularly, and it should keep you in good stead for if this was to occur. If you're seeing a massive change in performance in a negative way, I've made a video previously highlighting what triaging and process you can go through to improve your campaigns based on seeing a sudden downturn. But overall, continue to benchmark, remember and note down where things are right now in terms of your current bid strategy, your current budget, your current ads. Do a bit of a backup if you need to, just proactively on a consistent basis. Back it up to a Google Sheet using the Google Sheets plugin if you need to, and that can keep you, I guess, a consistent log of what's going on in your campaigns above and beyond just looking at a change history list. You can see the content in your ads on an ongoing basis if you needed to. But let me know your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this? Have you experienced this yourself? Let me know in the comments. I reply to all comments on all of my new videos. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other content across the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.